there, it's Lisa. I'm going to be doing a page today for a challenge. The challenge was to do your story first. And I've been doing a lot of that as I've been scrapbooking a lot of the pages from my youth, and I don't have a lot of photos, so I'm starting very often with the story. So for this one, I decided to do a story about my first airplane trip, and as I started writing, I very quickly realized there was a lot more to tell about the second trip, and I'll tell you about that as we go along through the video. I don't have any photos, so I went to Flickr in the Commons area where they have license-free photos, and I found this one of a plane. This was taken in 1973, which was the first time I flew, and I can remember, we didn't use this particular airline, but I can remember walking down the little stairs, and going into the terminal, and then later on, of course, we had jetways. And that figures into the story that I'll tell you about. So I have these two things to start off my page, and here's my sketch. I'm going to also use a journaling card from October Afternoon. I'm working with the Travel Girl series. So this journaling card I thought would be a really good one. I could put in some of the information there for one of my flights. I have a new silhouette, which I'm really excited about, and I've started using it on some of my pages and cards. So I want to do an airplane die cut. I've already downloaded one. I'm considering cutting it out of some pattern paper. I can't decide if I want pattern paper or cardstock because it's a little bit more detailed, so this may not work, so I'll just have to figure that out. And then for the clouds, I'm going to do some stamping, and I have some other papers. So let me just dive right in to this, and I will talk as I work. Okay, I'm just going through the collection and picking out some papers that I want to use for the background, and then I'll pick out some for the bottom. I also have some border stickers that I want to use, and cutting out this die cut. My first plane flight in 1973, when I was 9 years old, was pretty uneventful. I got my little plastic wings. I don't know if they still do that or not, but it was fun. And it was the second flight that I took in the late 70s that was more interesting. My father, who is very frugal, wanted to take the red eye to Seattle to save money. And this was okay, except I don't think my aunt was too excited about picking us up at 3 a.m. In the airport. But anyway, our concern was that we had a 3-hour layover in Atlanta. And we weren't sure what on earth we were going to do with 3 hours worth of time. And that was soon decided for us by the airlines and the authorities. All right, I'm going through thickers here, and you can see this one is just a mess. I don't know if I can find any thickers in that one or not, but I do have a couple of good sets that I can pick from. My title is going to be Fly by Night, so I'm going to pick out Fly from this one and Night from those orange stickers where I have a lot of choices still left, and then I'll fill in the rest of the words. So anyway, when we get to Atlanta, they don't take the plane up to the gate, but they have us go down stairs, and my parents had traveled a lot by then, and they knew that this was wrong, that there should be a jetway. So they put us on a bus, drove us out in the middle of a field somewhere on the around the Atlanta airport, and that's when they informed us that that there had been a bomb threat called in on our plane after we left Charlotte. Now on my layout here, I'm marking down about 1.25 inches so I can trim diagonally on this paper over on my paper trimmer. I end up with a little trim there on the side, and I'll deal with that a little bit later on, but you get the idea of this arrangement that I'm doing here. And I'm going to mark where I want to cut my background paper as well. I know I want to use this Leaving on a Jet Plane sticker too. So we're out in this field at the Atlanta airport, and we don't know what's going to happen. They did come back, though, and tell us that they decided the bomb threat was a fake, and they were not going to search all of our luggage. So we got to leave the Atlanta airport on schedule and arrive in Seattle at 3 in the morning. But we did have a much more interesting trip, I guess, because of that. So thankfully, there weren't any problems. So anyway, that's my little story. Now here, I'm working with my new silhouette. I've cut out a design for a plane. And I'm afraid I got a little bit ambitious. I haven't used the silhouette very long. I had a Cricut, but the Cricut couldn't cut quite the detail that the silhouette does. So I've got all these little detail pieces to go on my plane, and they just
I'll spare you most of this. I cut most of this out of the video because I attempted to make these things fit and glued some of them on, and I just wasn't happy with it. It wasn't coming out really good. I'm going to have to go and watch some other people's YouTube videos. I've done paper piercing before, but this one was just too fine for me. So I'm going to have to find out what the secrets are and learn how to do that. But in the meantime, I went back and I recut these images. I'm using some tape adhesive to glue just the top to the shadow in the back, and then I'll use the zig marker to finish gluing that down. By picking the more detailed image, I did get that shadow, which is kind of nice, but we're just going to take it as a silhouette kind of design rather than having a real detailed plane. It works fine. Right, starting to pull some things together here. My plane needs some clouds going around it. And I decided early on that I was going to stamp my clouds. And I'm stamping them on vellum. I've done vellum clouds a lot before. I've never done them on a dark background, so this will be kind of interesting. So I picked that dark gray background since we're doing a night theme to this. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp 6 of these out. I'm sure I won't use that even number, but it'll give me an extra one in case one doesn't come out good. The trick to heating vellum with the heat gun is to move around. So I do like every other cloud, and then I go back and do every other cloud. And when I get those heated up, then I'm going to start doing some trimming. Let's see how those are going to look. So I got my 5 clouds trimmed out up there. I'm still not sure if I'm going to use all 5 of them. Now I printed out on my little ticket there, or my die cut. I print on Word and work out my spacing, and then I use temporary adhesive to adhere the card over top of the Word information and send it back through the printer again. And this one came out really fast. I didn't have to do a lot of I didn't have to do any reformatting at all. So sometimes you get lucky, sometimes it's just having played with it a lot. So that one worked out really well. Adding a few of these strips down at the bottom, and I'm just going to spend a fair amount of time getting things lined up and straightened up here. While I'm doing that, let me tell you about a new product that I have on my blog starting today called No Photo, No Problem. It's a PDF that is 34 pages, and it also has a video with it that goes through the process for some of the layouts in the PDF. It's all about working without having the perfect photo. I have very few childhood photos, like I don't have a photo here of my own, and my husband has next to none from his growing up. So we have to be creative in doing pages about us because we don't have these photos. And even today, sometimes we forget to take a photo, or the opportunity just isn't there. We're at a museum or something where they don't allow photos. So we have to come up with other ways to capture those on our scrapbook pages. And that's what the new PDF is all about. I'm very excited. It's a project I've wanted to do for a long time because I don't have a lot of photos from my childhood, and I have stories that I want to tell. Just like today, I've got this story, but there are lots of other ways to embellish the page, to draw attention to the story with the die cuts and with the photo that I downloaded. So there's just a lot of things that you can do. So there are 10 techniques in the PDF, and I hope you'll check that out. It's over on my blog today, and it'll be over there anytime you want to see about getting that. Now I felt like the page needed some dimension, so I went to these Prima die cuts that I have not used at all. I didn't like the little clouds. I decided I would stick all 5 clouds that I had cut down up at the top, but I did like the Be Free die cut or wood piece, so I'm going to use that. And to add a little bit more dimension, I'm going to go with some orange enamel dots. I had just the perfect color left. I was happy with where the plane was, and I figured if I picked it up to put adhesive on it, I'd never get it back. So I'm just going to use a little bit of adhesive in a couple of places, and once I get it down, add a little bit more there. For the clouds, which are showing up great on this black or this dark gray paper, I'm using a little bit of Tombow adhesive, and on light colored paper this really doesn't show much. It did show up a little bit on this dark gray once it dried, but not bad. If I'd taken a little more time, this is National Scrapbooking Day and I'm wanting to get this page wrapped up. If I'd taken a little more time, I think I could have done a little bit less adhesive and it was shown a bit less. Now my enamel dots, one thing I hadn't done there was circled AM. I have 12:01 AM for our flight time. I know it was around midnight, but I really want to call attention to that. So I put some enamel dots there, and I need a third place for them, but they're not working out up there next to the word fly. So I'm trying them down here in the lower right corner, and honestly, I did not expect that to work, but I kind of like it. I did need a little something more white at the bottom, so I added some white gel pen down there, and that completes our layout. We'll take a look at the sketch. You see, got the diagonal element. That always, once you put a diagonal element on, it always kind of makes it hard to get everything else straight. I think that's why I spent so much time straightening. I moved the plane over a little bit to the right and used a few more clouds, but it's pretty close to the sketch. You can find the sketch on my blog along with the link to purchase the PDF called No Photo, No Problem, available today. 34 pages, 17 layouts, a 45-minute video, a lot of good stuff there. So I hope you'll check that out. I appreciate all the comments and thumbs up and all the wonderful support that I get from everyone here on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching. If you are participating with National Scrapbooking Day or National Scrapbooking Weekend, as it tends to come out to be, I hope you're having a good time, and I hope you're getting a lot of pages done. So thank you so much for watching.